Greetings, and welcome to Computerized Accounting. Let me introduce myself. My name is Mary Bryson. I'm an adjunct professor here at Helena College. My background is, I'm retired from state government, and since my official retirement, I periodically teach at the college. I have also used all of the software that we are going to be learning about in this computerized accounting class. Sometimes I use QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online. Not used Sage a great deal, but I am familiar with it. So what is computerized accounting? Well, let's talk about it a little bit. With the advent of computers, well before your time, I'm sure, at all levels, accountants determined that we should automate the recording of our transactions. It simplifies our reporting by categorizing and summarizing the data that we enter. It does require us, however, to do a lot of data entry. But I'm getting ahead of myself. If I think about computerized accounting versus manual accounting, which most of you have taken Accounting 101, so you're familiar with all of the transaction recordings and the manual recording of that information, does it change significantly? You've all studied the 9-step accounting cycle, and if we move to automating the cycle, does it stay the same? Well, I'd submit that there are some differences. We still need to analyze our transactions, enter those transactions into the system, whether we enter them into the general journal, the sales journal, the purchase journal, cash receipts, or cash disbursements journal, we have to enter them somewhere. Do we maintain a bank register like a checkbook? How does that look in a computerized system? But in a computerized system, if we're just entering these transactions, for the most part, we might only see one side of that transaction. For example, we might write a check. Well, where does that check go? How do we account for it? We might record it into a specific expense account or into a specific income account. But what's the other part of that transaction? Do we see the cash side of that entry? Do we have double entry accounting, truly? Or are we going to see it when we look at our computerized accounting? A lot of activity in a computerized system happens in the background or behind the scenes. So we'll talk more about that differences as we go along. For example, sometimes you might have difficulty locating the journals and the ledgers. Each of the software packages that we're going to review in this class looks and feels different, but the basics are all the same. They all contain lists of some sort, whether it's a customer list or a vendor list. They have different forms, whether it's a purchase order or a sales receipt. They do maintain registers, and they do have reports. So we're going to explore some of the differences as we go along. This is a Moodle course, and it's an online course. If you found this file, you've been to the Moodle homepage. Let's take a look at that real quick. You'll see that I've set the course up by week over here on the left side of the course. Your assignments, your projects, your exams, the learning aids, all of those will be included in the appropriate week. I've uploaded the course syllabus. It's down here at the bottom of your introductions page. And I would recommend that you read through the syllabus carefully. It contains a lot of important information, including the grading scale. Let's look at that real quick as well. The grading scale is here if I can find it, it's here somewhere, in the syllabus. So you can see that there's tests, exercises, online quizzes, there is a paper in this class, and there are projects, at least 3 of them. So you'll get an idea that there's 750 maximum points available. It's very important that you stay up in the course. So we'll go to the very back part of the course, of the syllabus now, and take a look at it. Please note that we have each week set up on the left-hand side. The chapter work that we'll be looking at, the work that is due, and the date that it's due, and what is actually due for that particular assignment or that particular week. As you can see, on some of these exercises, I'm only asking you to submit one or two of the required reports. For example, exercise 4.1, 4.2, which is due September 20th, I'm only looking for the December journal. You do not have to submit all of the reports that are requested when you complete those exercises. Okay? Let's go back to the PowerPoint here. Just as an aside, please note that on the very last page, here's the information that's going to be required to be submitted for each of the projects. Project 1, which is QuickBooks Desktop, Project 2, which is Sage 50 Desktop, and Project 3, which is QuickBooks Online. Speaking of that, let's just talk a little bit about these different software packages. You will note that we're covering 3 different packages. There's 2 textbooks associated with that. With the QuickBooks Desktop software, we're looking at QuickBooks Computer Accounting Essentials with QuickBooks 2018. So that's the first textbook that we'll be going through. The second textbook is related to the Sage 50 software, 2017. Although that says 2018, we will be using the 2017 version. And this is a summary of some of the chapters that are covered in the Sage 50 class, which used to be taught in the computerized accounting class. The college has determined that it really is better to expose you to more than one specific software, so we've included all 3 softwares that are commonly used here in Helena, Montana. So it looks like the author of Sage 50 is Barb Yava. As you all know, you've probably had her at least in one of your courses at some point or another. The QuickBooks Online portion of this, we didn't get that textbook. It's not summarized very well, and it is pretty comprehensive. So we'll be taking excerpts from that. In each of these software packages, as we go through the computerized accounting class, you will find that we are going to be doing a lot of the same types of transactions. We'll be looking primarily at merchandising companies and how they complete their sales and their purchases and how they track their inventory. So that's going to be our primary focus in this class. Each of the software packages looks and feels different, but they do the same basic things. You will find that perhaps in Sage we do see that it's truly double entry. We might see both the debit and the credit, whereas in QuickBooks we probably won't see both of those sides of the transactions all that often. But you do need to let you know that the software is free to you as the student, and it will be available for the entire term. So we won't run into a situation where you're completing your homework and all of a sudden you find out that the software is expired and you're not able to use it anymore. So that concludes my introduction and my welcome to computerized accounting. So I guess I can just say let's get started. Head to your introduction page and start to complete those activities that are listed there. Here's my contact information, Mary Bryson, instructor, mary.bryson@helenacollege.edu. Contact me through email to set up an appointment if you need me at any time. You can also email me if you have questions. I do intend to try and answer those questions or respond to your emails within 24 hours. I will not be reading email over the weekend. I do have some other things that are going on in my life that are taking a priority right now, but I will be focused on making sure that we get through this in a positive way and you have the opportunity to learn. Thanks for your time, and let's get going in computerized accounting.